So I'm recording sentence. Yeah. So if you get an option, just give record. So that's so most of the students are not writing all these mating conditions for every pair of components. For example, between the screw and this blade means you can establish 3, or at least for the screw you have to give 3 constraint. The constraint can be between this screw as well as this blade, or some constraint can be between the screw as well as the blade, and some can be between the screw and the body. You can reference anything which is already referencing previous body. For example, the first component is this one, so you will bring this one first. Because your body is the first one, you will fix it or put it in a default position. Then you will try to bring the blade. Blade with respect to the pencil holder has 3 constraints. Similarly, the screw with respect to both the blade as well as the pencil holder totally has 3 constraints. You cannot go more than 3 constraints. So 3 is the maximum limit. If there is anything more means, then it becomes redundant. But actually we are not going to deal with any redundant. So this one picture is your schematic picture of the real time object which you have. You have to send a maybe possibly a selfie with the product in your hand, and also a separate page, something like this. So when it is assembled, you will get an object something like this, which is shown below, and the dimensions, the front view, top view, and side views of the components are shown. That is, the orthographic multi views are shown. Even the screw dimension, other things, these can be made approximately with the help of a scale or some device. Like you can write some approximate values. So you can first take the component view that's shown over here. Take the component view. From the component view, you construct this exploded view, and from the exploded view, you construct this assembled view. So that's the sequence. Now, I think some of you have seen this top-down video. Like you would have seen in this top-down video. So what is this top-down video? It is opposing this the moment. The top-down video is another method, that is another alter method for your bottom-up approach. So this video has been shared to you. Like I could not add a text and other stuffs. You can see the first. Previously, what we do is that we used to create part. We used to create part, and after creating the number of components or parts, then we go to assembly. But here, the starting itself, I'm getting into the assembly. I'm typing an assembly name. I'm checking the use default template. You okay? Hello? Yeah, somebody was raising hand. You have any doubt? Okay. So here you have to choose millimeter Newton seconds assembly design option. So here the assembly, bolt nut assembly. So this is the assembly, the major assembly. I'm clicking create a component. I'm creating a part. So here inside the assembly mode, I'm creating a part. Not I'm separately creating a part and bringing it inside the assembly. So I first started with an assembly. I'm creating a component inside the assembly. Given bolt new, a new part, it's a solid part. Okay. So creation options. So is there a part which is already existing so that you need a copy? I'm starting something in empty, or I can also choose locate default datums, align with the coordinate system. So the coordinate systems, I've selected the coordinate system. So once I've even selected the coordinate system and press enter, there is a new coordinate system and datum planes created based on the assembly coordinate system. So again, bolt new has come. Now I'm going to create a part. I'm selecting the plane. This is conventional. I click sketch. It is taking. I take a profile to sketch hexagon. I click on the hexagon. I'm placing it inside the GUI. I'm entering a value 30 units. Okay, now I need to constrain the hexagon at the center. So click on this, constrain to the position. Okay, so it has been now constrained. 30 dimension is there. I can also move this dimension down. Okay, if done, I need to enter a value for the bolt height. I'm entering a value 15 for bolt height. Press Ctrl D to go to the default position to see the bolt. Okay, the bolt is created. I'm just fitting in. Now creating the cylindrical shank portion of the bolt. I select the face, I'm making a sketch, draw a circle for the cylindrical shank. Okay, so by mistake I've clicked it here. I'm deleting this extra feature, changing the diameter value, diameter set to 30. The side value is also 30. The diameter is also 30. So that is the bolt dimension. The side value as well as the diameters, they are same for hexagonal bolt, except if it is not a special type of bolt. I've given 120 as the extrusion length and completed this. If you want to change the bolt height, the thickness of the bolt head, which I'm changing it to 30, there's something called as regeneration. So that is regenerate. Click on that so that the changed value is reflecting in the model space. If you feel that this is too big and you want to change it to some value, say 20, enter 20, press enter. Again, you have to go to regenerate. So Ctrl G is a shortcut. Look at this. Now assembly is highlighted. The green color star at the bolt new part that has got vanished. Now assembly is in active mode. The bolt is not in active mode. Now again, if you want to create another part, so what you need to do is that again, go to create, insert a new component. I labeled as new nut. Locate default datum, again align with the coordinate system, existing coordinates. I am selecting a coordinate system. See, a nut new part has come with a green color glowing dot. That means it is active component. So where I want to place, I'm selecting the placement sketch. I'm giving sketch. So some two datums has to be given. I've selected the two axes, like something like your x-axis and y-axis. Close. Now I can reuse the edges. So I'm using a loop. I'm selecting a surface. I'm selecting the inner region. So I got two loops. The advantage of using these existing features is that when you change the base component, your bolt, your nut will automatically change. So that is, you can use your previous created model as a reference to create further components. So I've entered 15. Okay. So a second component is created. The dull finish component that was inactive. Now because I've activated the assembly, both bolt and nut, they are visible. I'm selecting the nut. I want to change the appearance of this. So not in the assembly, I'm changing the component level, apply the color to this or appearance to this component. I'm selecting the bolt now. I'm selecting a color for the component, just applying. Now in this case, both the bolt and nut, you can see at the left side where I've clicked, the assembly bolt and nut is the assembly, or bolt new part is the bolt component, nut new part is a nut component. You are not finding any small rectangular box at the bolt or nut. That means it is fully constrained. Your assembly is fully constrained because you have assembled the coordinate system. So it is so. If you want to change that, if you want to move the nut, if you want to edit the nut, you can open it separately. So this is the nut part. You can open any part separately as a separate file and you can work on it. For example, you can also change, say I want to change the thickness of the bolt from 15 to 20 or to some other value. I can change this. So for example, I want to give 40, regenerate. Now it has become a very long bolt. Okay, so say this and see it is getting reflected. So you can also open this as a separate part. You can do whatever you want. If you give something edit definition, because you are in the assembly mode, your edit definition will take you to the constraints, okay, assembly constraints. So it is coordinate system is fixed with the assembly coordinate system. Delete that. So once you delete and you go move on to the tab to see that you are able to translate this. So you can translate it, you can rotate it, you can do whatever you want. But our objective is to define new constraint. So we are going to do that. So this is very similar to the existing one. You can also place the components initially at the desired place. That is also possible. So what I'm going to do is that, so these two, look at this, a small rectangular box is coming next to the new part because I've deleted the constraint. Now it is not constrained. It is unconstrained or partially constrained. So go to the edit definition, select, so it is the selection is automatic. Select the outer face, inner face and the outer face of this. Automatically an insert constraint is established. Select two parallel faces in order to fix the distance. So selecting the two parallel faces, you can also adjust the distance. You can see in the alignment and offset for alignment is given. You can enter a value. So I'm entering 90, and you're finding that it is fully constrained. Allow assumptions. So if you're going to remove this allow assumptions, so what is that allow assumptions? I've fixed the axis as well as I've fixed the distance between the bolt head and the nut distance, but still they can rotate. So what I do is that I can now say that these two faces, they are either parallel or they are inclined at some angle. So those things I can give, and I can fix it. So I can establish a relationship so that the rotation is avoided for purely cylindrical components where for which you don't have such planar faces. You can select any of the datum planes, front plane, top plane, right plane. You can choose any of these planes. You can play with the options of constraints, like what constraints. Possibly you can try with these constraints. But if you give something like allow assumption, that will automatically take, but the behavior is not predictable when you are giving allow assumptions. And if you want a very predictable behavior, you should not mostly give allow assumptions. You should establish the relationship. So here the problem is the orientation is a problem. So once that orientation problem is fixed, then again, all these things. Now you can understand the nut and the bolt has to be given 3 constraints, that is meeting constraints. So either that is something like your insert constraint and some offset or parallel distance or meet constraint, and the relative rotation of the nut with respect to the bolt should also be arrested. So those are the conditions one must give in order to establish. So once that is done, once you give the condition, then just give okay to come out of it. If there is any unconstrained or under constraint, you will find a small rectangular box. Okay. So the presence of the small empty rectangular box adjacent to the component indicates that it is under constraint. That's a pretty easy way to check. Even people who come for assessment will be able to easily identify whether you have given fully constrained or not. But you can also fix all the components but still be able to. So look at this. If you give allow assumptions, then automatically it will take care of the things. Yeah. And you can see at the bottom, the status is fully constrained. Once you give allow assumptions, you can see the status at the bottom, it is fully constrained. And similarly, you can also see at the left side of the tree manager, there is no rectangular box. So this is the assembly. You can turn off this datum planes and the coordinate system and zoom it to fit. So this is a very direct method. Then you can save the assembly. The parts will also get saved. So this is a pretty simple and straightforward. The one more advantage is that you can use the existing features to create further components. That's another advantage. And one more advantage is that you will not make entries in inconsistent unit. You will not make bolt in inches and nut in millimeters, because you are working on the same assembly. You know the relative sizes of the components, so you will draw it correctly. These are the things.